my name is Dion Alexander, and this is my PowerPoint and my presentation for living undocumented diversity and social justice social work class. Professor Burnett. So living undocumented follows several undocumented families as they navigate fear, instability, and the constant threat of deportation. The documentary highlights emotional, psychological, toll of living without legal status, and shows how immigration policy shaped their life. So basically we're gonna talk about the documentary is gonna highlight what's going on in life, how it can have a toll on you emotionally, it can take a toll on you emotionally, and how it can take over you physically and overall. Through personal stories in the film, we're gonna talk about the film, we're gonna talk about what's going on through personal situations and what's really going on in real life and the current immigration systems. The documentary presents families who experience certain detentions, legal uncertainties, and the trauma of potential family separation. Basically, we're gonna talk about the legal situations of some of these families, the trauma, how did it take over, and what did it do to certain people? Because get what, trauma can last for many years, but we definitely finna jump into it. This film emphasizes resilience of families who continue to work, raise children, contribute to their community despite systematic barriers. Basically, even though a lot of system, how the system works, you got system barriers. Sometimes you can't do anything just because the system is holding you back. But despite the experiences over that, you still live day-to-day life and overcome it. Personal bias and reflection. Before I watched this documentary, I understood that undocumented immigrants face challenges, but I did not fully grasp the depth of fear and instability that shapes their daily lives. This film is challenged in assumptions by showing how immigration affects the mental health, families' relationships, and the access to basic needs. Every family has basic needs. Every family has mental health. If your mental health not together, how are you going to keep up with your basic things and tools in life? The reflection strengthened my awareness of how personal beliefs can influence personal practice and reinforce the importance of self-awareness in social work. If the biased historical patterns of members shown in the document are not addressed, social work practice risks reinforcing systematic harm. The impact of bias and marginalization of social work. The history of exclusion and criminalization requires social workers to adopt trauma-informed, culturally grounded approaches. That means through a lot of trauma, social workers are people who come in to help you to see a way to overcome your problems, and not even your problems, your trauma situations. Because life is a problem, but to solve that problem, you would need success. So us as social work, we come in to do a better job to see what we can help it to overcome the situation that you're going through. The marginalization, of undocumented immigrants is rooted in the historical policies and racialized narrative and shifting political agendas. This is the introduction of the timeline. The timeline highlights 10 significant events that have shaped the experience of undocumented individuals and contributed to ongoing exclusion. This is the research that shows the immigration laws that have often been used to regulate, label, and reinforce racial heritage and control demographic change. Timeline events 1 through 5. The first event is the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, which marks the beginning of federal immigration restriction based on nationality. The Immigration Act of 1924 establishes national origin quotas that favor European immigrants. The creation of the U.S. Border Patrol in 1924 institutionalizes surveillance along the southern border. The Bolsonaro program begins in 1942, allows temporary Mexican laborers to work in the United States without long-term protection. That means that they can come here but not for a while. The Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 ends a national origin quota but increases unauthorized immigration due to limited legal paths. That means a lot of them were sneaking over here, but they're supposed to be over here, but you can come over here for a while, but it's only for a limited time. Okay, timeline on marginalization, events 6 through 10. The Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986 provides amnesty for some undocumented immigrants but criminalizes employers who hire undocumented workers. The Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996 expands deportation grounds and reduces due process protections. The creation of the Department of Homeland Security in 2002 increases enforcement and surveillance. The Deferred Act for Child Rights Policy in 2012 provides temporary protection for eligible undocumented youth. The release of Living Document in 2019 brings national attention to intensified fear caused by shifting immigration policies. The social work implications. The document and historical timeline demonstrate the need for social work to understand the structural forces to shape the experience of undocumented crime. The practitioners must recognize how policy, demonstration, and trauma influence client well-being. That means that the discrimination, that means what they had against people was very bad. Everybody knows in life how trauma can be. Trauma can be terrifying. Trauma can kill you. You either kill trauma or trauma can kill yourself. But in this scenario, trauma was hurting people. And then it was like not good at all. Social work had ethical responsibility to advocate for the equitable access to services, challenge harmful narratives, and support community lead efforts to promote safety and dignity of undocumented individuals. And these are my references. These are my references. These are my references.